Every console cycle, we know the prices typically like to go up. That's your PlayStations, that's your Xbox consoles, and now that's your Nintendo Switches. But this time it's going to be a little bit different because one, there's also another competitor that's also entering the console space, and two, there's also a major problem that's actually going on in the hardware space of gaming that is also rising the prices even higher than what it typically goes for. And this is all supposed to be releasing within the next 2026 or 2027. So we got to talk about what's going on and why these prices are actually rising, and also that new competitor that's actually entering the console space to drive the price even higher. So let's talk about it. So before we talk about the prices, before we talk about the new competitor, before we talk about the major reason these prices are actually going up, we got to start from the beginning as far as with the Xbox and PlayStation consoles actually started from the beginning. So let's get to it. So the PlayStation 1 was actually released in 1995, and the release price for the PlayStation 1 was actually $299. PlayStation 1 sold so well that PlayStation decided to release another PlayStation called PlayStation 2, and it released that PlayStation back in October 26th of 2000 for the same price of $299. Man, what a time to be alive, boy. Now things typically change once 2000 and 2001 came along, because that's when the new competitor actually decided to join the console space. Meet Xbox.
Working with partners who help build the hardware, working with the software developers, working with the retailers. The program around this thing is really quite phenomenal. But the box itself is another thing that we put a lot of energy into. So you may have been wondering what this draped device was here. This is the Xbox. And so for the first time, let me now unveil Xbox.
The very first Xbox console was released back in November 15th of 2001, and they decided to release that console at the release price of $299 to try to compete with Sony with their PlayStation console. Following up a few years later, looks like 5 years later, they decided to release the Xbox 360 right around November 22nd of 2006 for a release price of $399. And then also, PlayStation decides to release the PlayStation 3 on November 11th, 2006 for the price of $499 for a 20 gigabyte version, and also a $599 price for the 60 gigabyte version. So you guys are starting to see that increase slowly happening. Now 2006 is when a new competitor started to enter the market as well. Meet the Nintendo. The Nintendo Wii was first released back in November 19th of 2006, and they actually had a release price of $249.99 to kind of jump into the console space. Now, I know I said this is the new competitor, but this is not the competitor that I was actually talking about earlier. The competitor that I'm actually talking about earlier is a competitor that's actually releasing their console in 2026 this year. 7 years later, Xbox decides to release the Xbox One that released on November 22nd of 2013 for the release price of $399 without the Kinect sensor. With the Kinect sensor, you actually wanted to release it at $499. Do you guys remember when that Kinect sensor actually released? What a time to be alive, right? If you guys are still watching this video, I just want to say I appreciate you guys, and shout out to you guys for tuning in to your boy. And I just want you guys to know to feel free to drop a subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content. Helps me out. Sony also decided to release their PlayStation 4 as well. Looks like they released their PlayStation 4 on November 15th of 2013, and they released it for the original price of $399. So that's 2 generations of console between the Xbox 360 and also the Xbox One and PlayStation 3 and 4 that are kind of staying at that $399 phase. Now, those 2 generations, those years of hardware that's being made to create those consoles, the labor that's being made to create those consoles, they are actually losing money keeping it at that same price. And that's a problem because businesses such as Microsoft and Sony are not in the business to lose money. Nintendo finally decided to jump back into the market, going from the Nintendo Wii to the Nintendo Switch that decided to release on March 3rd of 2017 for the release price of $399. So essentially they're trying to come into the market and try to compete with the Xboxes and PlayStations to try to match that price of $399. Following up 7 years later, we finally got the Xbox Series X and also the PlayStation 5. Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 decided to release both their consoles at $499, $100 more than the previous console. Like I mentioned, hardware is getting expensive, so they're still losing money. And currently, as of right now, you can find an Xbox Series X listed on their website for $649.99 and a PlayStation 5 for $549. So do you see the problem here? The same generation console has actually increased their price rather than dropping a whole new console and just doing a whole new pricing from there. They decided to actually increase this price as the current generation of Series X and PlayStation 5. Why? Because the hardware is getting expensive and also the labor to create those consoles are getting even more expensive. Xbox and Sony are not in the business of losing money, but this is where things get a little bit interesting. Currently, we are in the year of 2026, and as you know, PC gaming is becoming a hot topic as far as right now. A lot of streamers, a lot of YouTubers, and many other gamers are starting to transition into the PC space, and so PC gaming is starting to take off even more. If you kind of want to jump into a PC gaming space, on average, you're going to spend about $1,200 to $1,400 for a decent sized PC that can last you over a few years. But this is where things takes a turn. You got Xbox in the console space, you got PlayStation in the console space, and now you got that new competitor, Steam, entering the console space. Now, Steam has actually mentioned that they're actually going to price their console more on the PC side. It's actually going to be a little bit more than what an average console costs nowadays, which is currently $649, hashtag Xbox, that people are actually paying right now. So with a Steam console, they are trying to change the market of the hardware console space because they are in the business of not losing money on every console being sold, unlike Xbox and Sony. Now, what's going to happen if Steam decides to release their console for $750, $850, $950, and that console actually does well sales wise? Then what do you think Xbox is actually going to do? What do you think PlayStation is actually going to do? Let me know in the comment section down below. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I would do it myself. And that's where things start to get a little tricky. When you have one competitor that starts to enter the space and they set a whole new price for the console space, that leaves the other competitors to do the same thing to be able to match that price, so that way they won't actually lose money on every single console because they know based off of the other competitors' sales, people are actually willing to pay for that particular console. Now, another thing that is actually going on that's also driving these prices even higher than what it is right now is the RAM and GPU prices. RAM and GPU prices are actually soaring through the roof through the year of 2026 and possibly 2027. You can actually get a 64 gig of RAM right now for $500. You can actually get a 32 gig of RAM right now for $400 to $300. GPUs are costing thousands of dollars, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. It's actually insane how much these RAM prices and GPU prices are actually costing nowadays. And because those prices are actually going through the roof right now, what do you think is going to happen in the console space because of those particular prices? Now, when you combine the prices to make the console, GPUs, RAM, labor, plus a new competitor entering the console market, Steam, setting a new price, what do you think the price of a console is going to be in the year of 2026 and also 2027? Let me know in the comment section down below. Now, here's the thing. Companies know that consumers aren't willing to pay $800, $900. There's a very small amount of consumers, not that many. The average consumer can actually not afford that particular price when it comes to these consoles. And so what do these companies decide to do? They decide to introduce cloud gaming.
When I think about cloud and when I think about gaming, you can pick up something and you can do it quickly.
Games are large. Xbox Cloud Gaming is about being able to discover the new ones right away.
Yeah.
Now, what is cloud gaming, you're thinking? Cloud gaming is essentially where you can play games on your phone, you can play games on your TV, you can play games on your desktop, you can play games on your tablet, you can play games on a handheld device, wherever a device is able to kind of connect to the internet, you can actually play games on that device. Now, how it works is that Microsoft, aka Microsoft Cloud Gaming, was one of the first ones to actually do this back in November 17th of 2021. They actually did this with the Series X actually. Essentially, how they do it is they actually have the hardware stored in the data center, and all you're simply doing is just logging into their data center and just simply using their hardware from a remote basis. So you can actually use their hardware from the comfort of your home, all while paying a monthly subscription of $14.99 or possibly $30.99 currently right right now. And so essentially what's going on is that is essentially trying to create a squeeze in the consumers, essentially where you have your hardware consoles that are listing for $800 to $900 to $1,000 possibly in 2026, 2027. Or if you can't afford that, you can always just pay a monthly subscription for the data center cloud gaming. Now, that gives consumers two options instead of one, to try to squeeze as much money out of the consumer as much as possible. Now, Microsoft isn't the only one that's actually doing this. Nvidia is actually doing this as well. They actually introduced the Nvidia GeoForce back in February 4th of 2020. The GeoForce essentially does the same thing. They allow you to use their hardware and you can essentially play a game of libraries that they own from all remotely from your computer to be able to access their library of games instead of having to buy your own hardware, your RAM, your GPU, your consoles, just to play your everyday games on a regular basis. Why pay $800, $900 when you can only pay $14.99 or $20.99 just to be able to use their hardware and save some money on a console? Now, let me know what you actually think, because this is a very important topic and this can actually change how gaming is actually going to thrive moving forward. Do you prefer owning your own hardware? Do you prefer owning your own console? Do you prefer owning your own games? Or are you for just paying a monthly subscription and actually renting, leasing, or just using the hardware from a cloud rather than coughing up $800, $900, thousands of dollars just to own your own hardware and play games? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And also 2026 and also 2027, that makes this 6 to 7 years to where we haven't gotten a new console as well. So I'm expecting a new PlayStation console. I'm also expecting a new Xbox console as well to release sometime in 2026, if not later this year or 2027. Aiming a little bit more towards 2027 just because there has been no kind of information on the new consoles of the year of 2026 as of right now. And also let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below as far as what those prices will actually be. Are you leaning more so towards $800? Are you leaning more so towards $900? Or are you leaning more so towards $1,000? Like I mentioned, Steam is entering the console space. Then you also have these RAM and GPU prices that are actually increasing as well, on top of having to pay labor for the employees to actually make the console. So we're actually in the bind right now when it comes to gaming space as a whole. Let me know what you guys think in the comment space down below as well. If you guys enjoyed the content, feel free to subscribe as well. Now, if you guys want to know why these RAM and GPU prices are actually soaring through the roof, I actually did a video listed up here as well where you guys can actually find out why those prices are actually soaring through the roof and what's going to happen in 2026 and 2027 with the RAM and GPU prices. It's going to be in this video listed up here as well, so be sure to check that out if you want more information on that. But that's all I got for you guys with this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Other than that, like I mentioned earlier, like, subscribe, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'll read every single comment, so let me know what you guys think. Other than that, I am out of here. Peace.